Welcome to the Startup Societies Foundation podcast. We have a special guest with us today. His name is Charlie Kirkconnell. He is the CEO of Cayman Enterprise City. Welcome to the Startup Societies podcast. We have a special guest with us today. His name is Charlie Kirkconnell. Charlie is the CEO of Cayman Enterprise City. And I will let Charlie explain what Cayman does.
Okay, well, yeah, as Jalen said, we are a special economic zone located here in the Cayman Islands. And what we are is essentially a knowledge and technology focused mechanism put in place by the Cayman Islands government, fully outsourced for Cayman Enterprise City to run. With the goal of helping companies in the knowledge and technology space set up a genuine physical presence here in the Cayman Islands.
So what makes the Cayman Islands Special Economic Zone significant compared to other special economic zones? You have one in Jamaica, you have some over in Dubai they're setting up. What makes Cayman Islands special?
Well, we like to think that it's because it's located in the Cayman Islands. That's what makes our special. Because we're very biased, as you can probably imagine. We love it here. We think it's a great place to live and work. But other advantages that we hear from our clients why they like the jurisdiction is regulatory advantages. Cayman is easy to use sometimes by comparison to their home jurisdiction, especially for companies in the the blockchain development space and so on. We're a tax neutral platform, which means a lot to intellectual property based businesses, especially as it relates to capital gains tax. We don't have capital gains tax, so on a successful exit, we've been told that many of our clients will realize an additional up to an additional 30% in the revenue that they're able to take home as a result of being that intellectual property being located in the Cayman Islands.
Well, Charlie, you won me over at tax neutral, but when you that's really nice. Could you give an example of, let's just say, a fictional blockchain company that would set up in the Cayman Islands, maybe leaning more toward an investment fund, or would it just be something like a fintech company that's using blockchain technology?
Both. So we have businesses that are building applications on the blockchain, and we also have a number of businesses and growing that are virtual asset investment businesses. And lately, one of the drivers has been that U.S. companies that are trading on a variety of exchanges around the world. Some of those exchanges that they would like to trade on or that they need to trade on are not accessible from within the United States. So they set up an office in the Cayman Islands so that they can have access to the full kind of complement of global virtual asset exchanges.
Yeah, I actually that sounds fantastic. As a crypto investor, there are certain aspects of platforms that I don't have access to, and I've been wondering how could I get access to those, like lending opportunities with. So I use crypto.com. I'm a huge fan. I advocate for it, and but I know that they have a lending platform. They have a lending service that I can't use simply because I'm in the United States. And I believe there's some Binance as well, similar situation. So basically, those services will be available if I were to set up an entity in the Cayman Islands.
Yeah, and that's the feedback that we're getting from a number of our clients as the reason why they're setting up an office for their sometimes global organization. but that's the reason why they're setting up a company in the Cayman Islands to access the full complement of global exchanges.
Uh, I'm wondering, how does residency play a part in that? Because as a U.S. citizen, although Cayman Islands is tax neutral, the U.S. has certain tax laws where if they're gonna get your money. That's the best way to put it. And I'm wondering, how does the Cayman Islands affect someone like me?
Okay, so I can only very roughly scratch the surface on this, and very dangerous for me to try to go too far into it.
Oh, I asked them the dangerous question.
Yeah, my understanding is that for a Cayman Islands business established in the Cayman Islands, there are advantages to being set up here. But the bigger issue for many of these businesses is access to those platforms, and the regulatory environment, which just is I guess a little bit easier to use from a jurisdictional point of view. But as far as the taxation goes, what we will frequently do is, if we have a client that has questions on these issues that we are not able to answer, we have a network of advisors that we can refer people to where they can get specific advice on how setting up in the Cayman Islands might have an impact on their tax mitigation strategies. And I think that's one of the very important things that we do is we're not just about hey, come to the Cayman Islands, it's great. We take steps to make sure that people can get the advice that they need so that they can make an informed decision, and just kind of knock down some of those barriers that through the years, we've been at this now for almost 10 years. Through the years, we didn't, I'll say when we began, we didn't know what some of these barriers were. But as they've come up through the years, we've found ways to knock them down and make it possible for businesses to move forward here. So my message would be, if someone has a concern about their tax mitigation strategy or what their tax treatment might be, we have a network of experts that are available to assist.
All right. So the idea of offshoring, or setting up in the offshore somewhere, it comes with certain stigmas, despite any advances that have happened in the space. Like, what strategies have you implemented to kind of change that perception? If there you have at all. I mean, that's
Well, I think the people. What we always hear from people is that people in the know what Cayman is about, know what it offers, and knows that it is a highly regulated and a robust jurisdiction. This is not the place. If you are interested in engaging in some form of money laundering or fraud or whatever, this is definitely not the place for you. And people in the, like I said, people in the know, they know this very well. Cayman's problem has always been, kind of overcoming the stigma, the negative stigma that is out there. We're small. We have a small voice. The people who are, whether intentionally or not, spreading misinformation about what Cayman is all about, have a much bigger voice than we do. So that's always a challenge. But our plan to deal with that is to just keep plugging away, and spread the word about what Cayman is indeed all about. We're a well-regulated, robust jurisdiction, amongst the best in the world when it comes to customer due diligence and making sure that the businesses set up here are of the quality and at the level that is acceptable to the Cayman Islands and the global community. The last thing I'd say on this is that one of the things that we feel Cayman Enterprise City is contributing is is offering global businesses the opportunity to set up that genuine physical presence in the Cayman Islands. I think one of the criticisms through the years is that, yeah, sure, you have a Cayman Islands company, but it's just a post office box, isn't it? Well, our project allows companies to open an office, cost effectively and time efficiently, open an office in the Cayman Islands with people, on the ground here, who are making decisions, building products, and leading their projects globally. And we find it. I think it's very difficult to argue against the jurisdictional companies that are have that substantial physical presence in the jurisdiction. It's very difficult to argue against them having the benefit of Cayman's jurisdictional offerings. So we feel like we're part of the solution.
Fantastic. Charlie, given the nature of what you do and the fact you just seem like a friendly guy, I'm willing to bet you got a lot of friends. You made a lot of friends in this industry, I'm sure of it. So I guess I want to know a little bit more about you. Like, where are you from?
Okay, well, I'm Caymanian, so I'm from the Cayman Islands. I grew up here, and other than the time that I spent going to school in the United States, I did 4 years of boarding school and 4 years of university. In different parts of the United States. I'm a Caymanian, and I'm a proud Caymanian, and take a lot of pride in building this project to the standard that to a global standard, and it's become my life's mission, if you will.
Fantastic. Like, how long have you been with Cayman Enterprise City? Did you start it? Did you take it over? Did you work your way there and grow into it? Or what's the story of Cayman Enterprise?
Well, if I may, I'll start a little bit further back about, so I was, I'm a former attorney, and I was practicing with one of Cayman's leading law firms, and decided, but I had a family, family business background, and I decided that, once I reached a certain age, which I won't mention, that I wanted to get back into the business world. So I was just kind of doing nothing, trying to figure out what it was I was going to do. I was approached by an old friend from grade school and high school. She told me that she was involved with this project, and it'd be a good idea for me to get involved if I thought I should. So I took a little while and kicked the tires, and decided that this looks like a project that I'd like to get involved with. So I joined the team that was launching the project. So I've been involved from almost the very beginning. Initially as the chief strategy officer, and and I filled that role up until January of 2013, which time we had reached a crossroads, and the project needed a rebirth, and it kind of needed some new leadership, if you will, and that's where I stepped into the role of CEO. And the initial, obviously it's a fantastic idea to do something like this in the Cayman Islands, and it was more how do we get it done, and that's what I've been doing since 2013. We really started to pick up some traction, pick up some steam, and we like to think that the rest is history. It wasn't that easy. I will say there always have been challenges, and even 10 years later, there are daily challenges that that we have to deal with and overcome. But it's we're a long way away from where we were back in 2011, back in 2013, and but me and my team, we feel like we deserve a lot of credit for turning this initiative, this idea, into something that has really been very successful, and contributed in a very significant way to the economic growth of the Cayman Islands.
Fantastic. So you've helped a good number of businesses set up in the Cayman Islands. I'm sure there's a lot of pressure there. How do you handle that responsibility? I mean, just it's does that's got to be a lot of pressure. Like just thinking about that makes my brain spin. Granted, you're a lot smarter than I am, more than likely. So you you know this stuff, but still, it's got to be a lot because there are different kinds of businesses that you're helping out. And so you've got to know a lot about a lot, but still be specialized in your field. I'm wondering how do you handle that?
We just take it day by day and just keep grinding because the if you take a step back too far or try to look too far into the future, it can be overwhelming. We do know where we're going, but we focus on making progress every single day, and that's been the way that we've built up what is right now a considerable bank of knowledge and on how to do this and how to make this all work very well for our clients. And we rely on what we've learned through the years, and we try to learn as much as we can feedback from our clients about what was their experience like and how can we improve it. And we just take each of those individual problems on a day-to-day basis, solve them, knock them down, and just keep grinding forward. And that's the only way I know how to do it. And fortunately for us, it's been successful.
Fantastic. So my question is, how long is the process from I want to set up a business to Cayman in the Cayman Islands to actually doing it, getting it funded, and all of that stuff? Like, what's how long is your process if I were to come to you and say, hey, I want to set up my startup here?
Yeah. It'll take about 4 to 6 weeks to get everything that you need done, completed. And when I say 4 to 6 weeks, there are there might be other people that say that they can do it, quickly or just as quickly, other jurisdictions and so on. But we're talking about from the day that you say, okay, I'm ready, I've decided that I want to do this, to the day that you can actually sit down at your desk in the special economic zone, open your laptop or whatever, fire up your PC, and get to work. So it is a true 4 to 6 weeks. And the reason why it's that way, there are two fast-tracked business licensing processes within the full licensing procedure. The zone trade certificate application is processed within 7 working days, and the zone employment certificates for your team are processed within 7 working days. So the rest of the time is the time that it takes for the applicant to complete the various application forms, gather the required due diligence documentation, submit all of that, and then have the review process by the Special Economic Zones Authority completed. In the meantime, we offer our product in a fully serviced office environment, which means that the office is waiting for you as soon as you're ready. There's not okay. We don't say to you at the end of the licensing process, okay, you've got your licenses, good luck. And then it's up to the client to go out and start arranging, for office space, for voice and data connectivity, janitorial services for their office, all of the things that are extraordinarily can be very, very difficult to accomplish, and certainly very time consuming. That's all done for you already. As soon as you have your zone trade certificate and zone employment certificate approvals, you can walk into the office, sit down, and get to work.
Fantastic. So, Charlie, before this interview, I'd say, maybe a week or so ago, I've been bragging about you. I've been like this guy. This is like so. That's why I have to ask this. I have to know what and I've gotten a lot of feedback from people when I talk to them about the Cayman Islands, potentially setting up an entity there. People assume you have to be at a certain level to do something like that, and that makes me wonder, what what economic level would you recommend for someone to do this? Do you need millions of dollars to do this?
No, I mean we have businesses that are one person startups all the way up to publicly traded global companies and everything in between. And so if your project is a startup, then there's opportunity for you with Cayman Enterprise City and in Cayman. The only caveat that I might say is that as a jurisdiction, we're not recognized as being low cost, shall we say? So I'm trying to be as diplomatic towards Cayman as I can. So for a new project that is bootstrapping, it can be a little difficult given the cost of the to operate just cost in the jurisdiction in general. So typically what we find is that we're a great jurisdiction for when we are dealing with a new startup, a new company, that it's usually by someone who has been through the process before, had a successful exit, and this is actually their new project. So we find that that's really a sweet spot for us. So established businesses that are opening an office in the Cayman Islands, that's also part of our bread and butter. But for early stage or startup companies, typically we're looking at founders that have been through the process before, and and this is their new project. And they've learned from previous experience that it's a great idea to launch your project in a place like the Cayman Islands because of the tax neutrality, the intellectual property, owning and developing the intellectual property here, and then being positioned for a successful exit. All of those things make a lot more sense, I think, or a lot or more achievable perhaps. When the founders have kind of had some experience and had some success previously.
No, so you're level two.
Perhaps,
you can't, you're the level two guy. Great. I mean, it's someone's got to help out level 2 plus, right? You said you don't like to think too far into the future, so you might not like this question.
Yeah.
What is the future of Cayman Enterprise City?
Okay, well, I guess I should clarify. We are thinking into the future. We're focused on the day to day and beating the path towards where we know we're going. So the future for our project, we anticipate that we will end this year within the range of 300 companies operating from within the special economic zone. And with a plan that we're in the range right now of netting 80 to 100 new companies each year, and so we see that continuing into the years ahead. Our first building, we are developing a purpose-built mixed-use campus that will be the home of the special economic zone. Our first building comes online in September of next year, and that's going to be a very, very big step for us. Our plan is to begin work on our second building somewhere around the middle of 2022, and to continue to build out the residential and the commercial component or retail, I should say, components of the development, with a view to developing a world-class home of we do focus on the day to day, and we have to make sure, obviously, that we're committed to doing the things that we need to do to reach our long-term goals. But we definitely have long-term, some pretty lofty long-term goals that we certainly think are achievable. But we're very, shall we say, bullish on the future of Cayman, and we intend to be a big part of that.
Fantastic. So, Charlie, as we've spoken about before, Startup Societies is building out a network of individuals and entities to, let's just say, matchmake to help build a more prosperous future. And something like the Cayman Islands and giving your lofty goals, I feel that I have to invite you. I mean, you're a nice guy. I like what you do. And there is a long list of people in my mind who would love to meet you. So this is a formal invitation from me to you. Would you like to join the Startup Societies Network?
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
Fantastic. Well, Charlie, well, guys, we have Charlie Kirkconnell here. He just gave a wondrous overview of Cayman Enterprise City, what they do, and why you should be setting up your next entity in the Cayman Islands. So everyone, we have Charlie Kirkconnell, CEO of Cayman Enterprise City. He just went through an overview of what he does, how he does it, and why you should be setting up your next business in the Cayman Islands. You got anything else, Charlie?
No, thank you very much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward to being part of the SSF network.
Fantastic. Well, see you guys next time. Bye.